I want to start out by talking about the benefits of Iron Shirt Qigong. And I've got around 7 or 8 categories of benefits that I want to share with you that can be motivation for you to practice your Iron Shirt Qigong. They can be reasons that you do it when you don't feel like doing it. They can be things that will start to materialize over time with some practice and kind of give you a target to aim for as you notice what you're feeling in your body as you're going through the Iron Shirt practice. So the first one involves the fascia. And the fascia are the sacs around the organs. Each organ has a layer, multiple layers of fascia around the organ. And in the heart, it's called the pericardium. So the pericardium is a sac around the heart that helps keep the heart safe. And the analogy I like to use is that of bubble wrap. So if you want to send a piece of fine china or a fiesta bowl of some kind to a relative for their birthday, you'll wrap it in bubble wrap. And what it does, it keeps the product safe and it keeps it from getting damaged in shipping. And that's a lot like the way our fascia works for our organs. Unfortunately, through lack of exercise or lack of proper breathing, lack of toning, and just the fact that gravity can pull down on us, our fascia aren't as toned as the bubble wrap that our products come in when we get them in the mail. So through the practice of this Iron Shirt breathing, through the posture of Iron Shirt, through the structure that's created in these postures, through the breathing processes themselves, it starts to strengthen that fascia. It starts to help it hold the organs in place and keep the organs safe. Now remember, this is a martial art, and one of the benefits in the olden days of this as a martial art was that you could get injured, or you could take a blow to any part of your body. Get hit with a sharp object or a club or something like that, or fist. And a couple of stories on that. If you've ever seen the Shaolin monks, they'll do different things where they'll maybe put a spear in their throat, or they'll get hit with baseball bats or something like that in different parts of their body. That's from practices very similar or exactly like the Iron Shirt practices, where you're strengthening that structure, strengthening the body, so that there's more chi pressure that can deflect those kind of things. Another story I read in the book by Gichin Funakoshi called Karate Do, My Way of Life. One of his instructors practiced techniques like this, and in Okinawa they'd be drinking sake, and he would say, look, you can hit me anywhere except the tip of my nose, and I'll be able to take it. And they would practice punching him, and he would be able to take it with his Iron Shirt engaged, so to speak. So that idea of the fascia strength is one of the major benefits. It's also like if you take an egg and put it inside a balloon, and then inside of another blown up balloon, and inside of a third balloon. The egg's very delicate, it can be broken easily, but when it's inside of all those balloons, you could throw the balloon around, you could kick it, move it around, the egg stays safe. So that's another way to think of, you're kind of blowing up and inflating this fascia, creating chi force and chi pressure in between the organs and the environment, keeping them safe. The bones are another area of benefit for the Iron Shirt Qigong practice. And by the strengthening the tendons and strengthening the connective tissue and the fascia through the breathing, it keeps the tendons in place. When the tendons are strong and in place, it holds the bones in a structure like they're meant to be. And by having the bones in the proper structure, it helps your posture, helps the bones stay strong, helps them from falling out of place or out of joint. And that's the exterior of the bones. It also helps with the bone marrow. And inside the bones, they say over time the bone marrow starts to hollow out and fatty cells start to fill up inside the bone marrow. But through practices of Iron Shirt and through strengthening the intention and the awareness inside the bones, it starts to fill with chi pressure and energy. It starts to revitalize that bone marrow, and it starts to produce blood cells like it's supposed to, instead of hollowing out and being filled with fat. And this is Iron Shirt 1, but in Iron Shirt 3, it's called Bone Marrow Neikung. It's all based on the bone marrow, and it's similar postures, but increased focus on the bone marrow. We won't cover that in depth in this particular video, but that's something to look for in your own studies. So the fascia, the organs, and how it strengthens them, the bones, And the circulation is another aspect here, along with the chi pressure that you're building in your lower abdomen. And through the breathing and focusing on the lower abdomen and not just the front of the abdomen, but the sides and the back, it starts to create chi pressure in the body. And when the environmental chi pressure is more than the chi pressure in your body, the environment starts to press in on you. And an analogy for this is like a vehicle tire. And if you've ever seen truck drivers, they'll take a club and they'll hit the tire to see what the tire pressure is and make sure that the tires are doing good and strong. That's a good analogy for Iron Shirt. And by the breathing that we do, breathing in the lower abdomen, some of the gentle packing breathing that I'm going to talk about in this DVD, it helps to increase that chi pressure so that we don't get caved in by the environment here. So think about that, the idea of increased circulation, because as the chi pressure builds up, it puts the organs in a smaller space. It lowers the diaphragm, brings up the urogenital diaphragm, and it condenses the organs in a smaller space. Then when you release that breathing, the organs go back to where they were in a more toned way, and the blood will rush to where they were, because we're squeezing them together gently, and then when we relax, the blood flows down there. And whenever we're doing the breathing and kind of moving things more together, it flushes out toxins. It doesn't create room for waste and toxins in there or excess gas. It kind of squeezes that stuff out. So that's another major benefit of the Iron Shirt practice. Just some of the physical benefits, to review those and categorize those just a little bit differently. The bone structure, as we talked about, the chi belt around here, where your major organs are, almost like a cummerbund of energy that goes around there and sort of keeps your organs in place, keeps things tightened up here from the kidneys in the back to the liver, spleen, and the intestines in the front. They're holding that in place through this breathing practice. Emotionally, I've found for me that it really helps in a few ways. It helps me feel more grounded. Before I started this practice and when I was younger, I would feel like that the events of life would throw me off center a lot more easily. When something would come along, I didn't have the roots that I do now. And the tree that survives a storm is the one that has the roots. So when the storms of life come, you need to be flexible, but you also need to have those strong roots so that you can have a deep connection with the earth as you are facing life. All right, you need to have those deep-rooted connections, and that'll help with the emotions. Another thing that it did was Iron Shirt and the practices of the Healing Tao, it got me in my body. So before I was in my mind a lot, and I still battle with that, or I still embrace that, but I was able to come down in my body. And a lot of times I wasn't even in my mind. I was out here in the future, in the past, and worrying about what's next and planning my day and regretting the past and things like that. And through this practice, I was able to be more embodied and feel comfortable just being here. Hopefully that makes sense to you, and you'll start to see that as you go through this practice. So that's some of the benefits of helping emotionally. And there's another aspect of the Healing Tao system that talks about fusion of the 5 elements. And the fusion of the 5 elements works specifically with those. And the 6 healing sounds help to detoxify the emotions and the organs, and the emotions in the organs. And we'll cover that in this video later. The last benefit of the Iron Shirt practice that I want to talk about is the spiritual aspect. And that's the ability to have a deep connection with the earth through your practice and through your breathing. And that allows us to gather a higher frequency of energy. So an analogy for this is to think about if you're a 10-watt light bulb, you can only take 10 watts. And if 12 watts tries to come in, it may short you out, or 100 watts try to come in, it shorts you out. Well, by plugging into a deeper conduit like the earth through these Iron Shirt practices, you're able to absorb far more wattage than you were before. So you're able to, I felt like I've been able to through this practice, and other people I know, we're able to interact with the energies of nature. The Healing Tao system has ways of absorbing the energy of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the extent that I'm able to interact with bigger bodies in nature directly has to do with my ability of groundedness. So if I'm not able to interact and feel at peace with the energy of my organs, bringing the energies of a waterfall or a forest are going to short circuit me. Not to mention the sun and the moon and the stars. But through this grounding practices, through having a deep connection with the earth, we're able to tune into those cosmic forces and get the benefit of the sun and moon and stars energy. Look at them, they're in perfect balance. They're a lot closer to the source of energy, whatever you choose to call that source. They're more balanced and less polarized than we humans are. So as we can identify with them and absorb their energy, we are able to increase our spiritual virtue and our sense of balance and harmony. Thank you.